Grüß euch, Servus, hi friends of Japanese prints. My name is Dieter Vanschura and I'm the owner of the Artelino company. The subject of today's video, one of my favorite artists, Toshi Yoshida. Toshi Yoshida was the eldest son of Hiroshi Yoshida, the great Shin-hanga master. And Toshi Yoshida, he was born into a family of artists since generations. So not only his father was an artist, but also his mother Fujio and even the grandfather. And all these family members were available to teach the young Toshi Yoshida kid the art of making art. And it was astonishing. Toshi Yoshida started to draw when he was only 3 years old, and even his father Hiroshi, a rather strict man, he was astonished about the talent of his eldest son, his first son, and so it was clear that Toshi Yoshida would step into the footsteps of his father and take over the Yoshida enterprise. Hiroshi Yoshida had established his own studio over years, and thus he was independent from publishers like Watanabe Shotsaburo. Hiroshi Yoshida, his father, he was not only an artist, he was a real cosmopolitan. He liked to travel, and during his travels he made sketches which he later, when he came home to Japan, turned into woodblock prints. Collectors of Japanese prints know prints with subjects like the Acropolis in Athens, or the Sphinx in Egypt, or mountains in Switzerland. Hiroshi Yoshida and also his son Toshi Yoshida, they had another passion. They were passionate, avid mountaineers. Toshi Yoshida later wrote about his experience with his father about a trip to India, and that was very stressful, the opposite of a relaxed journey. They always took the night train, traveled during the night in order not to lose any time and to save money, and during the day they made sketches and photographs for their woodblock prints that they made from these sketches and photographs later home in Japan. Hiroshi Yoshida, the father, he died in 1950, and then his son Toshi Yoshida, then already an established artist and printmaker, he began experimenting in abstract art. That was rather unusual for a Japanese woodblock printmaker, but it was the 1950s when artists like Picasso were in everybody's talking, and Toshi Yoshida tinkered with abstract art for a few years. He had waited with that until his father had died, because he knew he would make him completely furious. Hiroshi Yoshida was completely against that. He was a favorite of the traditional Japanese printmaking method, a little bit refined with the Shin-hanga art movement. Well, that didn't last for long, this abstract art period of Toshi Yoshida. Later, in the late 1950s, he came back to figurative art, and most people who know him, who collect him, they know him with figurative designs. In 1980, Toshi Yoshida established the Yoshida Academy. That was a school for printmaking, and it was established somewhere, I think, in an old school building, somewhere in the mountains in Nagano province. And it was soon attended by international students who wanted to learn the Japanese way of printmaking. Among them were Carol Jessen, Sarah Breyer, Carol Young, and Micah Schwaberoff. Maikov Schwaberov, I think he stayed with Toshi Yoshida for 2 years. Also Paul Binney, he wanted to become a pupil of Toshi Yoshida, but when he arrived in Japan in the 1990s, it was already too late. Toshi Yoshida had cancer and he died in 1995, and the years before he was too weak to train new students. But the Toshi Yoshida Academy exists until our days, and every year there's the annual exhibition of the Yoshida Academy with former students of the Academy, like, for instance, Ryuza Okamoto, or one of my favorites, Osamu Sugiyama. Well, in the next step, I will show you how you can recognize different versions of Toshi Yoshida prints. There is, first of all, there are prints made at lifetime and posthumous prints. And then you have open editions and limited editions. And now comes something a little bit tricky. When Toshi Yoshida was already too sick, he could not hold the pencil anymore to sign the prints. And so the family invented a stamped signature. It's a stamp, it looks like a handwritten signature, but there are good indicators how you can recognize that. And okay, in the next step, I'm going to show you that. Let's type in Toshi Yoshida. By the way, speech recognition works also very nicely for Google when you use Chrome. Okay, here we have it, and okay, the first hit is Toshi Yoshida article by Artelino. That's good. Let's go to this article. Here we are. Okay, let's go a little bit down. And okay, here you see two images. And it's titled Recognizing Posthumous Toshi Yoshida Prints. You see on the left side here, that is a stamped signature. And on the right side, these are scans from the back side. On the back side, these are two examples, and you see here these Japanese characters. These Japanese characters are the indicator that it's a stamped signature. It simply says later printing by printer Komatsu Heihachi, and this is how you can recognize a stamped signature from the real signature. Okay, on this article you can find a lot more, and I've written a little bit of tips for you. Okay, what is better, limited or numbered? Which should you buy? It's basically a difference in price. But no matter what your decision is, Toshi Yoshida, you always get a good print, and you can be sure that it's no recut. Recut means a new block was made. It's always from the original blocks. Okay, so much here about the stamped signature now. Let's talk a little bit about market prices of Toshi Yoshida prints. They are usually in a kind of middle range, depending, as I just explained, on whether it's limited or not limited, open, signed, stamped. Price level for not signed, open edition, starting at US dollar 300 maybe. However, Toshida print can go up to even to $1,000, or sometimes for rare pieces even a little bit higher. No matter for what kind of edition you make your decision, as I just said, a Toshi Yoshida print, in my view, is always a good buy. Well, so much about Toshi Yoshida for today. If you have a proposal for another topic about Japanese prints, just let me know. We make these videos usually on a weekly basis. And well, for today, well, thanks for watching and have a good time. Bye.